Hi.
Good evening. Okay. Let's share screen here. Okay, we are starting a new section here.
Yes.
Okay. Pirut Yesodos Amidos. Okay. I guess we're going to go through the basics of the midos. And the soup, I don't know what they're going to be, but guy was a good place to start. Midas a guy. We call them midos, kasher not dasi kasher, but other midos when we try to analyze their primary source. How to be careful of their prohibitions. And to follow this great path in them. So we have to understand the severity of the midah, its essence, source, and its form. We see by all physical materials, substances, they are combinations of fundamentals of combinations. So as we're those fundamentals also are combinations of molecules or atoms. And according to the true principle, which the Kabbalists say, there's no such thing as a metzius without harkava. Zulas hamatzil ein sof. Ein sof. Alcohol.
It's one of those Kabbalistic abbreviations
No,
that we are not used to.
I don't think
What?
so. I don't think so. Ein sof.
The Tanya uses all sorts of different Kabbalistic abbreviations, which I'm not familiar with.
It's something kolo olamos.
Yeah. I'll call Hamatzil Ein Sof Al Kol HaOlamos Baruch Hu. Or something like that.
Anyway, whatever it is,
Hashem.
not so important. But the bottom line is that there's the only simplicity, true simplicity without complexity is a Kodesh Baruch Hu, because by definition he transcends anything material. So therefore, it's utter simplicity. The moment you start getting the same material, there's complexity in combination. But and even the loftiest spiros in the Olam Atzilus, Murkavos and Muzagos mean close amidos shamala. They are combined combinations and fusions of midos on high. She'ain davar shebekdusha pachos me'asora. That's interesting. I guess everything. That's interesting usage of that. Everything is made up of 10 spheros. The 10 spheros might be very darkistic, but everything is 10 spheros. Even the Olam Atzilus, everything comes in tens. Okay, that's very interesting usage of that phrase. Al-Kain Tzarech L'Havin as a Chomer Kamoshu B'igar HaKabasa. So you have to understand the Chomer as it is in its most essential combinations, which are still combinations. They're made up of different fundamental powers. They're changed based on the manner of the combinations. Of course, the ancient Greeks would say that the four Yesodiim are the four elements: Eish, Ruach, Mayim, and Ofar. There are many systems which divide the midos into Eish midos, Ruach midos, and so on and so forth. So I don't think he's going with that, but there is such a concept. Analyze the details of their combinations and their divisions. Gaiva is like omidos. Chamra eno pashut. It's not a simple substance. El murkab mitchunos proteos. It's made up of individual characteristics. How are we supposed to know we're going to find all of those fundamentals out of which it's been combined? We don't know if we found all these sodas, and here he talking means elements. It's interesting because it never gets to us. That's the problem with using science. The science is always in flux. I don't know how many elements there are today, but they're way more than 63. So, that, okay, that's a classic.
He brings the Eitz Chaim on the bottom. He says,
well, that's
the
the Kabbalah is not nothing to do with the elements. It's based on the Shem Hashem, which has a Kamash of 63, right?
I see.
Sheikar Kamash being a misag, there's Av, Ban, Sag, and Ma. So no, not order. It's Av, Sag, Ban. No, it's Av, Sag, Ban, Ma. No, I think. Not sure. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so Sag is like the Bina is obviously is where things start splitting out into separate branches and but in any event, even though I say that works according to Kabbalah, and since there are Ein Sof ways of permutating the name of Hashem. So therefore, there ain't so branches or variations on the Sag. Okay, so basically it's saying it's impossible for us to understand any midah with definitiveness, because you never know if we've gone down to the elements or the most basic building blocks. But the more we try to understand, the more be able to extrapolate. And when we accustom ourselves thinking this holistically, we'll be able to refine ourselves better. So what does Gaiva come from at first glance? A very great love of self, narcissism. Should tell him love that anything pleasant should belong to him. Based called Dimion Mat'eh, a very powerful imagination, which leads him astray. To enhance everything which he has, many-fold greater than actually the extent of his true midah. Kim Otos Dimion is another mistake of imagination. A person who's about Gaiva thinks that if I think I'm chashuv, is chashuv mutzlach. That's interesting. I wouldn't think of that as necessarily a problem with Gaiva. It says here that a person thinks, if I think well about myself, I will be successful. But even though it's not true. He's going to try and this is a practical guide. Since he thinks that he should be successful, he's going to present himself as successful in ways which are not good. Yeah, no. Do you know about the Dunning-Kruger effect?
The what?
The Dunning-Kruger effect. No.
Rav Yosef, while you were getting a PhD, I was unloading trucks.
No, but this man. Yeah, 1 second.
Although I did think deeply while I was unloading the trucks, but I'm not familiar with what you're saying.
Okay, so let's share the screen on this. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a phenomenon by which those who are least competent in a certain subject area overestimate their skills the most. Also causes those the most competent in a subject area to think less of their own talents.
I see.
You see?
So it's counterintuitive. In other words, if I'm good at something, I don't think I'm that good at it, and if I'm not good at something, I think I'm great at it.
Yes, this actually is not a good chart for that, but yeah. So right, so this is the idea. So that's Gaiva. Gaiva is,
Yeah.
I think I'm all there is, and therefore I am superior. It's similar to the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay. Okay, back to where we are. Hey, so case Gabriel Amisach Ziti Miona Zebetzir V'Dibur Maisa. So about Gaiva is really empty, but he thinks he's full. So he manifests himself as full. Dalit Klala Kol, overall arching principle, Usichus, Vidias Mahusa Miles Amidias Main is a stupidity in knowing what the actual substance of true Milas actually is. That's interesting. In other words, he has a false perception of what actual Milas are. I don't know if I buy that. A person can think he's a big Talmud Chacham, and he knows to be the Milas be a Talmud Chacham. No,
but it could also be true that someone who doesn't have a clear picture of what a Talmud Chacham is could say, well, I fit in there too.
Okay, so a person,
I know how to learn. I know how to learn just as good as anybody else.
Okay, so he doesn't know what true learning is. Okay, yeah, that's also part of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Okay, I would say so.
That's like a Korach. It's like a Korach type kind of. Everybody's equal. We're all, Kol B'nai Yisrael, right? They're all everybody's good. We're all just as good as you, Moshe.
Right.
He doesn't understand clearly what Moshe is and what to be striving for. He thinks, Moshe, he's a man like me. He has kids, he has a house.
Right.
So I'm good as him.
Yes. Okay. Said,
what does he say? Kol ha'am kulam kedoshu. Is that what he said? Yeah, everybody is. Right. We're all holy.
No, there's no distinctions. And there's no true Milas. Whatever true Milas I have, I must already possess. Pratim Pratim Avo Ela Kviani Reloti Tibona Gaiva Belay Mizulasam. You're not going to be able to build Gaiva in your heart unless you have these four characteristics. Votisrapein won't be healed, can't be up frodas, except by cracking apart these Yisoidas and Sarfam and refine them Korames in the crucible truth. So let's go over them again. Avas Atzmo, Koch Dimyon, which amplifies what he has. Another Dimyon that he is actually significant and successful, and therefore he's going to try and prove that with haughtiness. And the fourth one is a lack of knowledge of true Milas, because if you knew what true Milas are, it couldn't be about Gaiva. Okay. All right, I guess we'll stop here since this is being the next thing. I know we're going to get to the thing. Okay, so now, but this it sounds like in Gimel is going to go into Gaiva and another being. Let's do the first paragraph. Gaiva mamak shorshon lev nefesh. Yesh shorsh michad lavas hagaiva mamake lev adam. The Mam Losha Kosav Shamar Hoya Teres Ke Us Shikorei Ephraim. A glory, a crown of arrogance for the drunkards of Ephraim. Which is a guy with shichus. The nearest is Shorsham Ra Echad. That's interesting. Gaiva and drunkenness have the same shorish. Well, this is probably a pro. Again, I think Rav Kook wrote this before Prohibition. But evidently, we're going to see something interesting about Gaiva and Shichus. Okay, we'll see how Purim goes after that. Take care.
All right, very good. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.